A very good evening to you. Welcome to Big Talk on Global TV. My name is Ubong Osoro, and today we have a wonderful discussion where we are going to be interrogating Nigeria's leadership, especially as we have young people coming in to actually look at the leadership of the country and ask critical questions on how we can move Nigeria forward. Of course, it is very pertinent that we have these discussions around moving this country forward. Of course, Nigeria must move forward. But before then, I earlier did a report trying to understand the mindset of Nigerians as regards to former late President Muhammadu Buhari, how he handled security when he was alive. Take a listen.
Muhammadu Buhari campaigned for the presidency in 2015, one of his core promises, and perhaps the most urgent, was to bring an end to Nigeria's growing insecurity. As a former military head of state, many Nigerians believed he had both the experience and the discipline needed to tackle the country's worsening security crisis. At the time, large portions of the northeast were under the grip of Boko Haram. Towns had fallen, soldiers were demoralized, and thousands of Nigerians were either dead, displaced, or living in fear. The country longed for a strong leader, someone who would restore peace and rebuild national confidence. Buhari offered that hope. His campaign slogan, "Change," captured the nation's desperation for security and stability.
I think those that are misbehaving were either too young, they didn't know what happened. But for those of us who went through all these things, we can't understand. So we will treat them in the language they understand. So I feel for your understanding, and so we are going to be very hard sooner than later.
But was it enough? Did he deliver that promise? Some Nigerians believe that he did well as regards handling insecurity.
Mr. Buhari came and he inherited some challenges in terms of security. According to records, he did his best in saying that insecurity is totally wiped out. But unfortunately, crime and criminality has to do with in every society. So that is what I would say. He appointed so many people that can work to see these security issues has been settled. That's why he used to appoint people that are living in that places for them to go and have this for their people so that they improve the security aspect. So he has released so many funds for him to see this thing has stopped. He have done well. He went to the places I've seen. Every time he talked about, he wanted to appoint people that can work for the country in order to see a better Nigeria.
While others believe otherwise.
It was a failure, colossal failure, because we have never had that kind of insecurity in Nigeria before in the history of this nation, where the total northeast was ravaged by the Boko Haram, the terrorists, and even the northwest, the north in general. Or you talk about the southeast, where you have the terrorists there.
To a place of no return. During his regime, the insecurity issue was not tackled perfectly. We had so many cases like kidnapping, especially in the eastern part of Nigeria. In the north, we had cases of bandits, Boko Haram, bombing from place to place. To an extent, police were like even scared of, and even military men to go down there.
Now that Buhari is gone, Nigerians are left to access not just his intentions, but the realities of his time in power. For some, he was a warrior who fought for peace. For others, he was a general who promised more than he delivered. Ubong Usoro, reporting for Global TV.
All right, so that was a report I did earlier. Went on the streets of Abuja to find out what Nigerians think about former late President Muhammadu Buhari. And like situation, diverse opinions. Some persons think he did well. Some said, well, he didn't really do so well. Also, today I tracked some stories for you, some of the trending political stories on social media and what some Nigerians are saying. There's a story about Yusuf Buhari speaking at the Federal Executive Council, and okay, the story says, your support symbolizes great honor to my father's memory, Buhari's son, tells Tinubu. When this story came up, a lot of Nigerians have been talking about Yusuf. Let's see what Nigerians are saying. Oladimeji Ayodele says Yusuf Buhari is a young man, intelligent man, strong man who combines physical prowess with mental acuity and emotional resilience. His intelligence enables him to make wise decisions, calm under pressure, while his strength helps him to tackle challenges head on. The dynamic fosters personal and professional success and allows him to positively influence his family, friends, admirers worldwide. He is without a doubt ready for the task ahead to carry on his father's legacy. I am proud of him. All right, maybe some people are looking at him being the next president of Nigeria. Quickly, other Nigerians, because we have lots. Let's say Gabriel Olani says your father has done well for Nigeria. Naysayers may not like him, but the majority likes him. Okay, the statistics there, statisticians will tell us. We've done this. Okay, I think we had a technical issue there. Let's look at another story. It says articles exist. Okay, that's another big story I tracked for us today. It says articles exit from PDP, not new. We are expecting his return. Damagu. Earlier there was a chart I saw that actually highlighted articles various exits and coming back to the PDP. He left in 26, came back, left again. So maybe, so Damagu, the acting chairman of the PDP, is saying Atiku, he leaves and he comes back. Let's see what Nigerians thought about that. Somebody said, Port Harcourt Patriots calling Chidi, says, begging him, how? Atiku is like Abiku, the Yoruba mystical child, who's always going and coming. He will come back again to PDP when PBAT defeats him in 2027. You never can tell that. Can we take one more reaction? Someone said Atiku made two grave political miscalculations. One, rejecting Wike as vice president. I guess that's in the last election. Maybe that's what the person is saying. Allowing IU to continue as PDP national chairman, Adamu Abdullahi. One more comment, then we'll move to another story. Atiku is going to ADC to get presidential tickets. He's like the Thanos, and the presidential candidate of a party is infinite stones. That's a Greek mythology. If you are really good with movies, you understand what this person is trying to say. PDP, ACN, APC primaries, SDP primaries, PFN primaries, UNCP primaries, PDM placeholder. I am rooting for Atiku at ADC. Let's take the last story for tonight. A big story that I'm tracking for you on social media now, and the story is actually gathering a lot of reactions. This one says Peter Obi is our product. We want him back. PDP. Peter Obi is our product. We want him back. PDP is saying Peter Obi is our product. We want him back. Indeed, because it's a very, very, very great capital for our party. Let's see what Nigerians think about Peter Obi going back to PDP. Even Alfred Ibulu says Peter Obi came from Abga. Your product is Atiku. That's okay. No comments from me. Let's see. Any other person says, if Obi is PDP product, as they claim, what would happen to Abga party? We know where Obi was. I think that's what the person is trying to say. At least one of the former chairmen of Abga, in one of the interviews granted years back when Obi left the party, said Obi cannot achieve anything politically except he returns to Abga. As far as the new ADC party is concerned, Obi does not have any stake in that party so far. Atiku and Meji El-Rufai are there. None of these people will allow a sole candidate of the party without a contest. So I'll take the last reaction before I introduce our guest in the studio. Naso Kimano says, first of all, do away with Wike, then we will know if you are really serious. Thank you, Nigerians, for your perspective on the trending issues. Tonight on the show, I am privileged to have a former governorship aspirant join us live in the studio, Honorable Nonso Okeke, a former governorship aspirant, Anambra State ADP candidate at the time, and presently an ADC chieftain. You moved with the coalitions.
Yes, good evening, Nigerians, and good evening, Mr. Obong. Of course, we have moved from ADP to LP and now to ADC, where hopefully we are going to take the ticket, and then we'll be sworn in 2027 by the grace of God.
All right. So is it a regular thing? Is it something wrong with Nigerian politics where we keep seeing politicians moving from one party to the other? It's something wrong with our politicking. Why is it? Because people complain. If we had ideology in political parties, maybe people wouldn't move. Because you've been a member of the ADP, you've been a member of the Labour Party, and you are now in the ADC, a chieftain of the ADC in Anambra State. What's been behind the movement? Are you proud that we have a system where politicians can wake up in the morning, get party tickets, some politicians couldn't even win election without the support of the party. So they won and they left with the tickets of the party. Do you think something is wrong with our politics?
Obong, our democracy in Nigeria is evolving. It may interest you to know that Nigeria got into democracy in 1999 with a start from Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And then that was when party system came fully into Nigerian policy. I think by then we had about 9-something parties in existence before INEC streamlined the party to 19 parties. You know, and like you rightly said, if the desirable is not available, then the available becomes desirable. You know, why am I saying this? In advanced democracies, you know, like the US, we just know of the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, and you could know the ideologies of these two parties. You know, if you are talking of the Democrats, you know what they stand for. If you are talking of the Republicans, the George Bush and all that, you know how the government, you have an idea of how the government will look like. You know, but in Nigeria, we have seen an evolution of party politics that looks haphazard. You know, why do I say haphazard is that you just mentioned that somebody can wake up in the morning a PDP member and in the night he's an APC member. You know, that's because there is no party ideologies. You know, so all we try to do, like my conviction, you know, stems from the fact that I didn't decamp because probably I didn't have directions. You know, but I was being very careful moving from one party to the other. You know, I had a short romance with the APC where I worked directly with His Excellency Professor Yemi Osibanjo. You know, because at this point now, what I was looking at now and what so many Nigerians and young men like me should be looking at is, who do you want to be your mentor politically? Even when Peter Obi was there in Labour Party, I didn't go to Peter Obi because he was my brother. At that point, I looked and I saw that Osibanjo was the best person to take that mantle. And then we saw how the primaries went in APC, and he was skimmed out. I wouldn't say that my mentor, Professor Osibanjo, lost out. I said he was skimmed out because we knew that probably there was no primaries in APC. You know, what we saw there was just a charade that...
we had primaries. We covered the events like we saw candidates, we saw Amechi, Osibanjo, our current president, Tinubu.
Will you call it a primaries when you share dollars and you share...
But that wasn't seen in the at least to, maybe you know more.
Well, the fact remains that I felt that APC should have known that Osibanjo was supposed to have that ticket.
But it's politics. Maybe he wasn't able to play. It's politics.
Well, for me, we knew everything that happened, both behind and in front of the scene, and I wouldn't want us to stress ourselves by going into it, but the fact was that I wish the best candidate emerged in APC, who happened to be Professor Yemi Osibanjo. And since he didn't emerge, let's leave the story for another day.
So that's why you left to the
yes,
at the time.
Yes, from there I proceeded to the next better option for me was Labour Party. And then because Labour Party had someone with semblance of the character of Professor Osibanjo in the person of His Excellency Peter Obi, and I said, okay, let me give it a shot at Labour Party. And that was how I came into Labour Party. Not because of the party per se, but then if you want to go into any political office in Nigeria, it's mandatory you have to go through a political party.
So I've heard this discussion a lot of times. Some people say that the party is just a vehicle. So you could use a vehicle, but this vehicle, people put these parties together. For instance, let's use a party like the APC. It took a coalition. People came from the ANPP, people came from New PDP, CPC, and some part of APGA to form the APC. So people spent money, spent resources to put vehicles together. Is it right that some politicians in Nigeria, jump on political party, achieve their aim, which is to get into power, and deserts the party? Is it really fair morally?
It's not fair, Ubong, and that's another assignment for the National Assembly to look into, trying to make sure that any political party that comes on board must have an ideology. Because what we are running in Nigeria is not democracy. You just wake up today in another party and you be in the other party. Like you talked about the coalition. What was the relationship between CPC and the New PDP and the APC of the Action Congress of then? Did they come out to tell you what they were putting on the table? This is just like in Lagos, the Molue. The Molue, when the close of work, like in the evening, the conductor will ask you where you go to, you will say come in. That coalition of that APC was just coming into that Molue, and the Molue, until the Molue went halfway before the man even sat down and asked themselves, where are we even going to? What is even our manifesto? And that is why you have seen colossal failure in the government today.
All right. So you supported Vice President Yemi Osibanjo during, and all of that, but he was part of the government. You can't. He was the vice president. You cannot absolve him of blames of in a government where he served for 8 years. So he was saying that the government of late former President Muhammadu Buhari was a failure. Wouldn't it be right that every other person who served in that government failed?
The Nigerian federal presidential system of government is one system of government that gives the president absolute powers. Okay? Why do I say it gives the president absolute powers? As a student of political science, in one of my courses of study, we got to know that there are perceptions and attitudes of leaders. What I'm driving at is, maybe if a late General Sani Abacha tells me, come, let's go to war, I wouldn't ask him questions, because I know he's an infantryman. I know his track record as a military man. I know he will lead me to that war. If another president, maybe like a good luck, asks me, let's go for war, I know he doesn't have the military background. I'll tell him, let's sit down and strategize very well. So what am I saying? Every leader has his own character and peculiar characteristics. If you are saying Osibanjo was part of the government, yes, he was part of the government. But like I said, the president has that absolute powers. This man may want to do so many things as the vice president of the country, but what are the powers of the vice president? Of course, you and I was the living witness when the president was, when the late president, may his gentle soul rest in perfect peace, General Muhammad Buhari was out of the country for about 6 months. You know, the Osibanjo we saw working under President Buhari was not the Osibanjo that was in control. You know, if you observe carefully, the forex and the dollar attained stability within that 6 months that he held sway. If you observe again, we saw an Osibanjo that told Maman, the former DSS boss, Lawal Daura, he told him to go on suspension.
All right.
These things happened under his will to tell you the kind of leader that we are dealing with. This is a leader that, you know, if you give him that power as a president, you take Nigeria to the promised land.
All right. So still interrogating Nigerians' leadership for young people now. What are the alternatives we have? Because if we're saying that the APC, who offered at least a strong opposition to the ruling PDP at the time, who at some point even boasted that they will be in power for 50 years and all of that. I witnessed campaigns of the PDP where some persons made those statements, and they were very flamboyant about being in power for long. And it seems the APC is doing that same line. One thing that they are in power, and it may be very difficult for them to leave. Do you see an offset? Is it possible? Because it seems the dynamics are different. We had formerly we had different parties move into a coalition, but we are not really seeing a party. We've not heard statements from Labour Party that they will be collapsing their structures into the ADC. Or as somebody who left the Labour Party recently, and you've also been in another party, what are the parties saying? Your friends around, your politicians, are they going to be majors, or is it just a coalition of individuals, or will it be like 2014 where we had a coalition of political parties? Because what we're seeing now is a coalition of individuals.
Ubong, Socrates, a philosopher, said that an unexamined life is not worth living. APC have spent cumulatively 10 years. Late President Buhari have had 8 years, and the Bola Tinubu administration has had 2 years, cumulatively 10 years. The 10 years we have had of APC, how have they fared?
You can answer.
So who is going to give them that 50 years that they are talking about? You know, you see, when Nigerians make statements, we just make statements in the name of making statements. You see, that's why I'm very excited with this coalition that has come up. You know, because about 50% of the persons in that coalition are people that came from APC. If you talk of Rahuf Arebeshola, who represents the Southwest, he came from there. If you talk of Rotimi Amechi, who represents the South-South, he came from the APC. If you talk of Nasir El-Rufai, you know, he came from APC. And at some point, even Atiku came from APC. You know, so these people are tired of this dummy that was sold to them by APC. You know, this thing is not rocket science. It's not working. 133 million of us are in poverty, Obong. Obong, you cannot drive from here to Enugu with peace of mind. You can't drive from here to Borno with peace of mind.
All right, so I'm trying to interrogate the process of the coalition. So it doesn't seem like we keep making, if we allude to the fact that this government is not doing well, like you've said, if that's a fact, if that is actually a fact, so we don't make the same mistakes again. I'm trying to allude to the fact, because we had a coalition of the same people, the same individuals that told Nigerians change. We are bringing somebody that can fight corruption, that is not corrupt, is going to fix this, is going to fix that, but we didn't see that happen. What assurances do we have, or is it still a trial and error? Let's try something else because the first one didn't work.
Well, I want to assure you that this is not a trial and error. This ADC journey is as old as 18 months. Consultations, discussions, you know, meetings and all that. And of course, that is why we are seeing the ruling party today. They look so confused when this coalition came. They didn't see it coming. In fact, when they got wind of the meeting last 3 weeks in a hotel at Asokoro, they quickly ran there and threatened the hotel. And the hotel cancelled the coalition meeting in the morning of that day. And we left that venue and proceeded to Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center under 2 hours. Ubong, you are there, you are living witness. You saw what happened at Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center. No parking space, no way to sit down. That shows you that Nigeria is hungry and Nigerians are tired of this whole thing. And I want to tell you that the process that led to this coalition is a very superb process. And it will give birth to a very wonderful leadership in the next 2 years.
All right, so Nigerians will want to ask, who is the leader of the coalition? Because from what we're seeing, we'll see personalities that, from my understanding, are personalities that are very vocal, that are very forward-minded. Nasri El-Rufai, you know his personality. We have an Atiku, who is a leader in his right, a former vice president of Nigeria, and we have different other personalities. Are they going to be able to work together? That's a question some Nigerians will want to ask, because we've seen people come together like this before, and because they have misunderstandings and personality clashes here and there, and they are not able to work together. Will they be able to work together?
These guys will work perfectly together, because they are seasoned experts in their own fields. I'll just give you the names of 6 of them and tell you what they stand for. When you talk of an Atiku Abubakar, a detribalized Nigeria, an administrator who has stood the test of time, married to my sister from Onitsha, married to Titi Abubakar from the west, and married from the north. This is somebody who understands Nigeria. When people are saying that he keeps on trying and trying, I say, well, even our late president tried to that extent. But I want to tell Nigerians today that the article we are seeing today will become an elder statesman at the time we present this coalition.
Yeah, because if we want to interrogate, maybe we'll have another session to interrogate them personally, because there are so many interrogations and I just want to ask.
I think you have allowed me to land on the 6 personalities so that I give you a
just mention their names.
Yeah. When you talk of Atiku, an Atiku representing the Northeast, you talk of David Bonaventure Mark, he's the national chairman of the ADC. Then you talk of Rahuva Rebeshola representing the Southwest. Then you talk of Peter Obi, who represents the Southeast, and Amechi, the tribalized Nigeria, who as a transportation minister ran the railway from Kano to Maradi in Niger. Then you talk of El-Rufai, the infrastructure guru. Go to Kaduna State, when he was in FCT, we all know what he has done.
Yeah, and that's why I said, because since we've mentioned personalities, not for this particular show now, because I would have loved that we look at them, because Nigerians have questions for each of these personalities. Like you've mentioned, Atiku, he was in power 1999 to 2007, was vice president, virtually maybe a de facto president at the time, had so much control. The economy was under him. How good was the economy of Nigeria? Nigerians will want to ask. I talk about an El-Rufai. Nigerians will raise questions about some extremist tendency and all of that. That's questions Nigerians will raise. We talk about Amechi, and some people will raise questions about somebody who may be sold out. Those conversations are there. Some people will talk about somebody who was paying half salaries. Those conversations are there. So I said, not for the purpose of this conversation, right? Maybe another time when we have this time to look at the personalities of people that are in the ADC
coalition.
In the coalition. Thank you so much, Honorable Nonso Okeke. We're going to come back to talk about Nigerian leadership, and do the coalition have a place for the young people, and who are the national chairmen, and many other questions that Nigerians really want to ask. Okay, people, let's go for a short break. This is Big Talk on Global TV. Nonso Okeke, who is an ADC chieftain, a former ADP governorship aspirant in candidate rather in a governorship aspirant, I beg your pardon, in Anambra State is here to help us understand the politics of 2027 and what the ADC has in stock for Nigerians. Don't go nowhere. Let's take this short break. All right, so welcome back. This is Big Talk on Global TV, political program, a program that tries to explain Nigeria and give a good perspective of the country, a better perspective, help us understand how we can move as a country and actually achieve great results. Today we have Honorable Nonso Okeke, a former governorship aspirant, ADP governorship aspirant for Anambra State, and also an ADC chieftain who's helping us understand the politics of the coalition. But before I go in, I'd like that you talk about the former late President Muhammadu Buhari, president of Nigeria, and was president for 8 years. And yeah, he died, buried in Daura, died on Sunday, was buried on Tuesday in Daura, and the mourning continues. The president declared 7 days of mourning, and people are saying that the president has really honored him. Do you think President Tinubu has really showed that honor?
Largely to a reasonable extent, I think we must give it to the president. He has paid the last respect to late President Muhammadu Buhari. We saw how he went into Daura and, and how he conducted a fake meeting in honor of Buhari and the renaming of University of Maiduguri. So I think we have given honor to, he has given honor to the dead. And wherever General Buhari will be today, I think he has died a happy man.
Okay, so was General Buhari, in your view, a good president?
General Buhari of 1983, when I was young, my parents told me that he was a disciplinarian. And himself and Idiabo, late Idiabo, were persons that tried to shape Nigeria as regards discipline. So, and that gave rise to when people tell me that Goodluck was forced out of the position. I said no. It may be a little obvious, but no. Nigerians wanted a change because of the antecedents of the military antecedents of Buhari. And that's why people voted massively for Buhari. People were quite tired of the system. That and thought that Buhari was going to bring in discipline into the system and all that, But when we came, we saw a Buhari who, traveled for medical checkups. So perhaps in all we have seen within that 8 years, and from what Aisha Buhari has told us, that the late husband has asked her to beg Nigeria for forgiveness, then I think I will score late Buhari 50%.
That's fair. All right, so still we're talking about the coalition. The late former President Muhammadu Buhari benefited immensely from a coalition. In fact, if there wasn't any coalition, maybe he would never had been president. Okay, so are we going to see, are you seeing history repeating itself in 2027?
Well, history will repeat itself in 2027 because, the persons involved in this coalition, like you told us that they have failed in one way or another. But myself and you here, we have shortcomings, and only God, who is omnipotent and omnipotent, is perfect. You know, those guys may have their shortcomings, but if you look at the people that have formed this coalition and the processes, I'm sure that 2027, this coalition will make a landmark history in Nigeria and Africa.
All right, so before now, you talked about our political parties lacking ideology. As a politician and as somebody who understands the problem, the ADC, have you thought about having any ideology? Is there any ideology behind the ADC?
Well, so where it is cooking now in ADC, our coalition spokesman, Bolaji Abdullahi, you know, he's taking time to tell us the direction the ADC is going. And I want to assure you that by the time we come out with our manifesto in the next few months to come, you will see that this is a manifesto that will take Nigeria to a second world nation under 4 years of our administration, because I'm very optimistic that in 2027 we are going to paddle the canoe to the villa.
All right, so you know, it's quite very interesting and mind-blowing, because we've had this kind of discussions before. We had a discussion that power will be a thing of history in 6 months. We had that discussion in 2014. I don't want to mention people's name, but we had that discussion when people were saying it. We've had discussion around problems around Nigeria, and some Nigerians may be thinking that it's normal for politicians, but that's not what I'm interrogating. Let me ask you this question now. People are thinking, is it because some person fell off being in power? Maybe, but let me personalize it to you. If you got an appointment from President Tinubu's administration, will you be talking about a coalition at this point?
Mr. Obonga said, Dati Ahmed, did he not leave the government last 3 months? Was he not the essay to the Mr. President?
No, but his reasons were that he wasn't doing much.
That's the point. Some of us whose conscience is still alive, if this thing is not working, it's not working. You know, if you are going to be a part of the shame of the ruling party, why not leave on time, so that people will know that you spoke the truth? It was not working, and that's why that he left, and so many other people will leave. We are predicting a serious implosion from now till next year within the APC, because the policies are not. You see, the problem is that we don't want to apportion blames to where they are. Some persons in APC told us that power will be there in 6 months. And where is the power? Some persons told us that every year they will generate employment, 3 million employment for the graduate. Where is the job? The same APC. So this is not rocket science. You know, Thomas Hobbes, a philosopher, a political scientist, told us that there is a social contract between the people and the government, and if the government fails, we are free to withdraw our rights from them. There is colossal failure.
All right, so is it just about the APC, or is it about Nigerian political system? Because we have states that are governed by the PDP. You know, we have governors in opposition. We've not seen them, you know, talk about forming or joining the coalition. We've not seen them. We've had members of the House of Reps, and even when bills get to the Senate, we've not seen them walk out. We've not seen them, you know. So it seems each day you keep seeing opposition party members, political leaders decamping to the APC. We keep seeing governors going to the APC, and some persons in the APC have said, come. The more people are leaving the APC, the more people are coming into the APC. How do you balance that?
What is the scorecard of the governors that are leaving to APC? What are their scorecards in their states? You see, like we started this program, there are no ideologies. Those persons you see living there, they will tell you they want to connect their state to the center. What have managed they have not been able to achieve? Is there any special thing in the center? Is the same allocation that was given to Peter Mba in Enugu State, was it not the same allocation that was given to Delta State? even more than that. How many is Peter Mbai of PDP is doing wonders? How many is an Alex Oti in Abia State is doing wonders for the first time in 23 years? What is the magic happening?
But if you are calling, we have APC governors that have won awards over Governor Sanwo-Olu, who had done some very good projects too. So
if you become a governor of Lagos, you do well.
Let's
do well.
But we've had
Lagos is a cosmopolitan city.
But we've had APC governors that are also doing very well. The governor of Cross River State, having very good reports. Governor Basil too, and other governors. So may not really be the system of a party. Are you not seeing that it depends on individuals? Individuals, like you mentioned, individuals that are steadfast. That the party may not totally be responsible for the failure of our political systems.
What I'm trying to say is that there is no ideology in the APC. That's why people are scared of 2027. 80% of the reason why they are moving there is if I don't go, they won't give me the ticket. That's the driving force. Not because they want to go and join anything to the center. They are not linking anything to the center. If you see anybody who is serious, who means business as a governor, you know. All right. Has Alia linked Benue to the center? What is happening in Benue State?
All right, so let's talk about the youth, because that's where the constituency where you represent and you speak for young people. What's the conversation around integrating the youth? Because people have questioned the leadership of Nigeria, that we keep having same old faces, we keep doing the same things, we keep having the same people who've been in power. President Muhammadu Buhari, late President Muhammadu Buhari, was in power in 83, came back in 2014. We have an Atiku who has been running, was vice president, and Nazri El-Rufai, who was a director of BP, who was a minister of FCT, a governor, and all of that. So we keep having the names that are being thrown up, that are potential front runners, I would like to say, an military, transport minister, governor, speaker, and all of that. These are names that have been around. Can't we have people who are not known to the system, people who are new and have maybe a better ideology, if that's what people want to call it, coming to the system? Why is it very difficult for people to break into the Nigerian political system, especially young people?
Well, it's very, very difficult to have young people break into the political system because of what we call state capture. At this point, I'll have to give kudos to Mr. Peter Obi, who I have come through. I belong to the Labour Party, part of the coalition. You see, this guy is the only man that has that link between the elites and the talakawas of the society. They have not, and the youths. And he has kept on giving us encouragement. In fact, he has even put up a 4 years proposal. At this point now, the youths are finding it difficult. Even me, when I was thinking of Anambra State, it's just because I said, it's decided I go into this politics or whatever that wants to happen, let it happen. And the day I woke up from my house in Abuja and decided that I was going for governorship, I called my driver and he kicked the vehicle around 5 p.m. I told him we were going to Anambra. I said, what are we going there to do? I told him I'm going to go and start making arrangements to contest for the governorship. My wife told me whether I'm crazy, whether I've gone mad. I said, yes, maybe, perhaps I've gone mad. But what am I trying to say is that most youths may not have that zeal in me. I knew what was driving. It was not the ordinary driving me. I knew I was driven by anger in my spirit to go and give this thing a try. But in the case of so many youths now, there's even a voter apathy amongst the youths. Why is there voter apathy? The youths are now getting to the point that they see that these votes don't count. And it's a dangerous trend to democracy. That's why you see a lot of our youth in social media. You drop something there, before you see 15,000 comments, 10,000 comments. Instead of leaving the social media to come to the field.
All right, some votes may not count. That's a debate some persons from the other side may want to ask. Well, let me ask you now, Peter Obi, do you have any information? Is he a member of the ADC? Because at this point, I don't know. I've not seen a resignation letter from the Labour Party.
Yeah, well, His Excellency we saw him as a part of the coalition, but he has told us that he is still in Labour Party.
Yeah.
And of course, like you said, he's just learning this politics from those that have been playing it. Somebody has been in FCT, in PDP, and still in APC.
Who is that?
The FCT minister. He's a PDP member and he's in this.
He doesn't have a membership card of the ADC, as far as I know.
The APC.
Of the APC.
Yeah, but I mean, you can see these things playing out. You can see this thing playing out that, when the time comes for the next meeting of PDP, he's there. How sure are you that information or secrets of APC, of PDP is not being moved to the other place? So, but what I'm just trying to tell you is that His Excellency Peter Obi is in Labour Party, but part of the coalition of ADC. And as time goes on, we are going to all marry our interests.
All right, so the PDP, you saw the story we had on the screen earlier on.
Yeah.
The PDP is asking that former governor Peter Obi comes back to the party. Is that something you think he should consider at this point? Because the PDP has more political structure, like you politicians like to call it.
As far as we are concerned, there is no repentance so far in PDP. We have not seen people to have repented. What we see are still the remnants of the people there. And I don't think it will make Peter Obi to look unserious, if he start thinking of the PDP, because there is no provocation in ADC. We all know what has happened in Labour Party, how he has battled tirelessly for the past 24 months to recover back Labour Party. You and I know that infiltrators came into Labour Party, trying to destroy Labour Party. Even as at the Supreme Court judgment of last month, we still see a national party of APC in a social media that went viral last week, where he was with the FCT minister. We didn't know for what.
They could be friends. People could still meet.
Well, how did they become friends? And why are Nigerians particular about that picture? But we are friends now. So I mean, after this program, I go my way and we go. When people snap the both of us, it doesn't ring any bell. But when these people saw Aburi and the FCT minister together, they started wondering, where did this friendship come from? So what am I saying in essence is that our politics in Nigeria has to be well defined. And our politics in Nigeria has to be well defined, and we need to lay down ideologies, so that if you are in one party, we know you are in one party. Atiku has just resigned, and I believe that at the appropriate time, His Excellency Peter Obi will do the needful. But going to PDP now, I think is a no-no for him.
All right, so Nigeria still wants, the political process. How's the consultation? How's the engagement going? Are you reaching out to governors? Because we know how important governors are in Nigerian politics. Are you reaching out to governors? And what's the level of engagement happening within the ADC at this time?
Yeah, the governors will come. I assure you, they will come. They are just testing waters. A lot of House of Representatives, a lot of members from the Connaught, Katsina, Kebbi. We have started seeing the campaigns already. These things are things that happen over time. When they get the assurance, a lot of them are making negotiations with us. They are talking to us. They are sending their emissaries. They are sending their foreigners. To come to us to come into ADC, and we are assuring them that they should come. Very soon, we are going to see a tsunami of movement into ADC. And that tsunami of movement, I assure you that again, that tsunami led by David Bonaventure Mark, who is an experienced politician, who has served this nation length and breadth, will paddle this canoe to the villa.
All right, so yes, another question I'll quickly want to ask, because people talk about when coalitions like this happen, people negotiate for offices. Is that something the ADC at this point is doing, where we already have somebody who's been negotiated to be a president, the other person has been negotiating to be vice president, secretary of government, and different offices negotiated already?
Well, like I told you, this an arrangement for 18 months, for the past 18 months, and these gladiators that you have seen that came up to form this ADC, they are not baby politicians, At the end of the day, running the government of Nigeria, Nigeria runs one of the biggest democracies in the world, there is a lot of space for people to fly. There is a lot of seats for members of the coalition to come in, so I believe once our presidential candidate comes up, every other person will fall in place.
Another question quickly, because we're gradually running out of time now. It's about funding, and we've seen opposition parties complain of funding, and it seems some ruling parties, it's been alleged, there've been allegations that some ruling parties could be funding from government coffers. You don't have that luxury at this time. Who's funding the ADC?
ADC is a party for Nigerians. And I want to assure you that the first major funders of the ADC will be the people of Nigeria. Because Nigerians are tired. Nigerians are fed up that they want to just give the last try in 2027. And please, Nigerians, I'm talking to you now. Right. I'm begging the youth. Please, by August, the registration for voters card will commence. Please let us use our last strength to go and get these PVCs. These elections will count.
All right, so get PVCs. That's very valid. Nigerians should get PVCs. Well, let's get back to Anambra State, where you're from, before we round up the conversation. What's happening? Do you have a national chairman now in Anambra? I know we have David Margraf Aribeshola as secretary. In Anambra, what's the structure of the ADC presently?
Well, we have a very solid structure of ADC in Anambra State, and with David Mark coming in and alignments and realignments, you know that in the next few weeks we'll be able to start rolling out leadership of the various states, which Anambra State is not an exception. So I want to assure you that so many things are happening on the ground, how to realign and align the leadership of the party across board.
So are you thinking of running for governorship again now under the ADC platform? Is that something you are considering at this point?
In the future, I will give it a try. But for now, we're involved in FCT politics, and we're going to try out something in FCT politics very soon.
All right. So, and you think the governor is not perturbed because he's doing very well, your governor, and is not thinking that this what you people say will be a wave, maybe sweeping him. But don't forget, people have talked about President Tinubu being very experienced in politics, and he may also be playing his cards well. Have you thought about the person you are up against, that he has political mastering and he was able to conquer Lagos State?
Well, the truth is that there are two elections, major elections, preluding the next presidential election: Anambra State and the FCT area council elections. Those two elections, we tell Nigerians and we tell the presidency that people are not out for jokes again. Right. But people are suffering. The hunger is glaring. Right. Graduates are not seeing what to do. Look at the security architecture in Nigeria. Everything has collapsed. Right. Power has dropped to the lowest ebb. Right. What are we talking about? Alain Dume should be respected. I'm not from his party, but I love that man, Alain Dume. He said that while politicians are busy decamping, that Nigerians are not decamping. Right. Nigerians are folding their hands and watching the politicians. Let them keep decamping.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nonso Okeke, a former ADP governorship aspirant in Anambra State, joining us live in the studio today to help us understand what's happening in the ADC. He is actually an ADC chieftain, and we really appreciate you for taking our time.
Thank you, Ubong. I'm glad to be here.
All right, people, and that's our package for tonight. Do have for yourself a wonderful evening. Remember that Big Talk comes your way every weekday from 7 p.m. To 8 p.m. And a special edition comes out on Sunday, where we look at all of the big stories and all of the big things that happen within the week. Keep watching Global TV. Have for yourself a wonderful night. Thank you.